Omer, the only reason I'm doing that is just because I don't have my swing trades behind me, man, unfortunately. That's funny though. I like I prefer it on bigger screens, you know. Anyways, good morning everybody. Happy Monday. Today's 28th. Let's go ahead and get started here. All right. All right. So first things first, like I said, we're in transition of moving, so I do have instead of having all my actual screens here at the house, I went ahead and just made a multi screen layout right here just so you could see the trade plans that we are currently looking at. All right, and those are Docu, FSLY, TDoc, TTD, Chewy, Piton, Starbucks, AAXN, Twilio, and Win. All right. So first things first, you're going to notice, you're going to see that we basically gapped up. Okay. And as I always say, we gap up into most cases, we gap into our targets. And when we gap into targets, we are looking for those to be resistance until they're not. So you don't want to be caught off guard. As a disclaimer, the way that I approach this, if I'm not already in a trade, is I'm hands off. I want to pick a time frame. And this morning, what I'm doing is I'm picking a 1 hour 9 EMA. Okay. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I don't want to be caught off guard. I don't want to get FOMO and buy right away and then notice that, price pulls down. It might not gap fill, but maybe it comes down about 30%, 25% from that range of the gap up. So I picked a 1 hour 9 EMA for this morning, okay? So first things first, let's go ahead and start here from the left. This is Docu. All right, Docu has gapped up a little bit here, about $4 or so. My neutral is 214.30 by 207. Basically, what I want to be seeing, you can see here that the 9 EMA is confluent with our neutral strategy. If for some reason it cannot bid over the pre-market high and it starts to pull back, I'm going to be patient and wait to see if we get, somewhat close to this 9 EMA and back to this neutral. There, I would expect buyers to jump in and then start picking this thing back up. And this is where I would be interested in taking the long and then adding over the pre-market highs. Okay. And then I'll follow up on that as price does. Now we're going to follow that same idea across the board here. Here's FSLY, and you can see here from our blueprints over the weekend, we push right into T1. This is a great example of what I'm talking about. Targets will be resistance until they're not. The way that I want to approach this, you have two things that you want to look at. You have the 9 EMA here, and you have the target here. Between the two are neutral. Okay, if that would make sense, basically just imagine this yellow box coming up and you got yourself a box right in here between the 9 EMA and the target. Why? Because the top of this line is resistance until proven otherwise, and the bottom, this EMA, is going to be the closest support that we have. All right, so that's FSLY. The way I want to approach this, one, I can look to take starters over the top of 94.11 or start down here on a reclaim of a 9 EMA. When I say reclaim, what I'm talking about, okay, let's just zoom in. If price were to break down, and let's just say it breaks this 9. You're like, okay, John, that didn't work. That's okay. Come back down, possible gap fill in this area. We start, buyers step up, get that inside and up, look to go long. Trade starts over. I get to trade to the upside and then add above the pre-market high. Okay. So again, neutral as of right now between the target and the 9 EMA. I have chosen the 1 hour. If you want a little bit more patience on today, you can increase that to 2 hour, 4 hour, and so forth. All right. So same story going across here. Let's go ahead and go to TDoc. That's going to be right here. You can see our indicators. All right. Those are very important to pay attention to. Even though this is a green arrow, this is called the accelerator, even though price is underneath here, we look for it to be resistance until it's not. It's very straightforward. Anything above price is resistance until it's not that is on my charts. Okay. So what do we need to do? We need to get past 225.78. You can see we're at 222.89. We're just kind of hanging out underneath there. Okay, so as of right now, the 1 hour 9 EMA is confluent with my target of 221.05. Okay, so same thing that I showed you on the previous on FSLY. Price pulls back. I want to see if 221.05 or the 9 EMA holds. If it doesn't, be looking for gap fills or close to a gap fill this morning. Okay, all right, over here on TTD, same thing. Price pushed up into, give me 1 second. Yep, it's pushed up into our target here and then pulled back a little bit. Same thing. You can see that the 1 hour is confluent with our neutral strategy and that target has been hit. It looks like, let me zoom in here for a second. Not quite. So we still have a couple dollars there, but it is opening and close to opening up into resistance. This is how gap ups are. They gap up into resistance points as long as you know how to chart and you have really good targets and so forth. This really works out for us. So once again, I'm going to remain neutral here. I'm watching my 9 EMA, maybe on this TTD. It has a long range. I prefer probably around a 30 minute. All right, 30 minute. That way you capture it up here a little bit more. So we're going to change this just really fast. I'm going to come into a 30 minute. There we go. That's a little bit cleaner. And you can see it gives us a little bit, less risk here. All right. So again, over 484.89, if it can hold there for the day, we're setting ourselves up for ACDC setups, looking for those pink lines above. Okay, pink line above. This one, same thing, we'd be going for the green line above, and then above here, the pink line. Okay, but we'll talk about that more here in the room. But those are our targets, and you guys do have plans. Let's move down here to Chewy. We're above the accelerator. All right. And you can see our target right now is 60.53. As long as we can hold 57.01. Same thing here, 1 hour to 30 minute is what I like here on Chewy. Really straightforward. And then Piton flagging a little bit here pre-market. This one is actually still in our neutral strategy. So I really like that. I'm not interested in it until it can hold above 100.35, where I'm looking for a move in a 102.68, 105.17. If we start to break down, I'll be looking to see if buyers step in at or around 95.44. Very straightforward. Okay. Starbucks, this one I like more on a momentum trade. I went over the notes in the room. You can see we are above the ME. Longer term, I'm looking for 85.54. You can see we have gapped into that pre-market, and I expect it to be resistance. So resistance here, support here, and between the two, neutral again all the way across the board. AAXN, this one is a continuation from last week, I believe, and we're looking for the pink line here at 91.97. The 1 hour 9 EMA is confluent with the accelerator. All right, so as long as we can hold at or around 87.80, looking for that push into 91.73 this week. All right, and above that, we will have more targets 93.70. Over here on Twilio, this one, it's a smaller gap up. It looks like only about $2 or so, but it's usually pretty illiquid in the morning pre-market. You can see bid and ask are pretty wide, so we'll see where it opens up. But this might be a nice runner. I like that it's closer to my EMA. If it stays bid above the ME, I'm looking for the target at 257.35 and then 269.40. Over here, last one on Win, 72.36. It's bidding up about $1.50 or so. ME holds 72.91. Everybody knows Win is pretty volatile. All right. And for a smaller stock, I think it is. It's been under a lot of different circumstances this year, obviously, because of COVID and so forth. But the end is the end. If we can hold the 72.90 area, at today's close, I really like this up into 77, 79, and 82. A lot of these do have earnings coming up in the October timeframe towards the end. We could be seeing a nice, rounding bottom into what we call the ACDC. Okay, and we talked about that on our broad market analysis. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. I think that's important. Now let's get to kind of the meat for today. All right, so our blueprint worked really well. Now I went ahead and changed this, the upper targets for today because we blew past our first target. Our first target was like right in this area and we blew right out of that, which is really nice. Um, but the bigger picture remains very important. Okay, so let's pay attention just for a second here. We're going to go to the default screen right here. This level 38.2 of the overall range is very important. We need above this. So somewhere between 33.47 and that decelerator 33.58. This is going to be resistance. You can see that we're gapping into this area on open. I personally never like to see that because what it does is it creates FOMO on open. You just got to be patient. We are coming into today with some longs already profitable on pre-market. We went ahead and trimmed American Airlines this morning, and we have some AMD and several other trades, but those were the main focus going into Friday. We held, and it looks good. Okay, and we'll go over that here in a second. However, as we gap into this resistance, it's very important for me. Listen, for the day candle to close above here. Not a 5 minute candle, not a 10 minute. I'm not saying I can't trade it off of exuberance. If we break above this level, stops go in and try to ride this thing on a smaller time frame, say like 5 to 10 minute time frame. But the bigger picture, if we can hold on this for the day, all right, let's just pretend this is a day candle. I want to see tomorrow on Tuesday, we pull back into this level, and then off of that level, we find support and then into upper targets. This level right here has kept us from putting too much allocation into positions, and it really has saved us. All right. So we came up, we didn't get close to this before, the market turned right back down on us. All right. So we know how important that level is for us. All right. And we are getting closer to it on open. All right, so ES futures, that's what we're looking at. And before we get out of there, let's come back over here to 927 night. Okay, I can rename this. Let's go ahead and there we go. Now we're going to name this 928 days since we did change it. Okay, there we go. All right, so far as today is concerned, a 4 hour, sure, I could be looking at that, but I want to show you or bring your attention to the 1 hour. Okay, and we have some nice formations in here. We have the trendy edge. So we understand the trendy edge is support when price is above it. So if it comes down, you can see there are formations in here that show us there could be some buyers in this level. So please understand that. I do have new targets to the downside. That's what these are, 3319 and a quarter, and then 3308 and a half, and then 3297. And then the line in the sand is confluent with the ME and with an inside and up. Okay, all right. Quickly, before we get into the focus trades, let's go ahead and look at AAL. I did trim this morning at around this area in here. You see price did pull back. This was a really nice trade for us. We started it. I believe we've made it over, for such a small stock, we've already made over close to $1 this morning. So that was nice. Far as it's concerned right now, if you're in it for the longer haul, I'd be paying attention to the 4 hour. The 4 hour 9 EMA is confluent down here at 1234. Look for buyers to step in at or around this area and then see if we can pick this back up and take out that pre-market high. I'm looking for that next target at 1302 with the remaining shares that I have. Let's go over here to AMD. All right, AMD has hit our first target on open. Again, manage your own trades. What I'll be doing is looking to see what kind of value we have here and then trimming or adding above here. So I may actually add further out of the money for looking at 82 target, okay, to 86. Remember, the ACDC is what I'm looking for into earnings. Overall target into earnings, $90. Okay, as long as this lower pink line can hold 77.05. All right, that's AMD. All right, and then over here, we're going to put ES back on just like that. We'll be monitoring this. And then over here are my focus trades for this morning. All right, so just real quick before I continue, the charts that I shown you in the beginning, the reason why we did that is because I don't have all my screens here. We're in transition to moving. So what I'm doing is monitoring those, and if they set up, I'll be taking those. Okay, so that's just kind of on the side watching those. And then we have our focus trades. Okay, focus trades are right here for Microsoft and BABA. And then ES is my driver, and that's why we're paying attention. Okay, let's go ahead and watch and go over our focus trades for this morning. So Microsoft, I currently have this on a 1 hour. I went ahead and built this blueprint this morning. Same thing, looks pretty good, right? You can see it's respected the edges very well. All right, and now it's about the ME and the last week's WE. And so I'm creating a neutral line around this. Going to trade this the same exact way. Okay. If you were to look at this target and this neutral, we're basically right in the middle. All right. Price breaks down. I'm watching that 9 EMA and the top of that neutral. If it flushes, remember, this is important. If it flushes, we're not buying just because it touches. All right. If it flushes, just let it do its thing. Maybe the market wants to come back and fill some gaps. Okay. And if it then goes bid, buyers step in, stops go in, and then we look to trade to the upside. It's all about patience, typically about 30 minutes to an hour. You really get an idea of what's going on. All right. So that's what I'm looking at on a flush. So on a reclaim of these levels, I'd be looking to go long. All right. And then targets up here at 213.79. But what if it doesn't flush? What if it doesn't come to the EMA? I'm looking at the pre-market high. Can we get over that pre-market high? If we can, then I'm looking for these targets to the upside. Over here, the next thing I'm looking at is BABA. They have a catalyst. I'm not a news trader, but understand that news, catalyst, so forth is just an excuse or some sort of narrative to push price into my levels. Plain and simple. Okay. So they have a catalyst, 3-day conference this week with their shareholders, I believe. And so we could see a little bit of price, pushing towards these targets that I have. Regardless of the catalyst, this is what we call an ACDC. Okay. We do have a trend line here. I'm going to show you that really quick. Okay. It looks like this. All right. And we're trying to break over that. Me personally, I would really like to see price get over that 274.50 area, which is about where it is right now. All right. And I do have a 1 hour on here, just like the rest of the charts I've shown you. And if we pull back, I want to see if this area is going to go bid. If it doesn't, we're probably looking at gap fills. If it does go bid and starts to push up, I'm long, adds above the pre-market high, looking for 277.80 and then 282.03 and 287.08. We do have earnings again on these names in October. Please be aware of that. Check out the premiums. All right. And we'll go further into detail after we open up here. But that pretty much sums up the entire week, what I'm looking at, and today. And then we will add more focus trades, whether they're to the downside or upside throughout the week. So saying that, we have about 5 minutes. I want to cut this pretty short pretty soon. Do you guys have any charts that you would like to look at? Please say so now. And I may not be able to get to all of them, but let me know. All right, T-Doc. This is a really nice winner so far. I hope you guys appreciate this trade. So here's a trade that we took. And what I would like to do right here, B, is if we can get above the accelerator, I may, what I was talking about on the trade plans for continuation, is may just add to the, maybe like a 245 or 250s, somewhere in there, instead of adding to the actual verticals. Okay. Really, that's all I'm doing. So same thing here. See the 4 hour, this is a little bit different. Okay, the 4 hour, you see it's confluent with that inside and up right here. So if we were to pull back, this is where I'd be looking at adding, or if we can hold above the accelerator right here around 225, 226. Okay, so about 30 minutes to an hour after open is what I'm looking at. All right, especially on any ads, folks. All right. You definitely don't want to be trying to decide in the first 5 minutes if your swing is going to continue to work or not. All right. Give it a little bit of time. All right. All right. STZ. Let's look at it from a weekly. Constellation. All right. So it's forming what looks to be a little bit of supply, right? So you can see that. It pushed up into some targets I gave earlier. They resisted. All right, but right here you got the inside and down. On a weekly, you're underneath the 9 EMA. This is pretty straightforward. You need above the ME or it's resistance until it's not. So if you're thinking long, I think you're range bound for right now. 184.05 is resistance. And then you have the selling pressure topping wicks. I don't like this trade for an upside trade for right now. It needs to clear this congestion right here before I'd be interested. That's just me. You do have earnings coming up though on 10/1. So, you know, maybe it gets a run. And if it does, I'd be more interested above that right there, about 190, 150 or so. Okay. All right, Tesla as well. I think they got some stuff coming up as well. They're trading at 425. I love, all the news and the noise and so forth was just an excuse to get it down into this box that I showed you guys last week. You can see it's moving up so far. Again, this is just some consolidation pattern. To me right now, it's better to be an owner of Tesla than to trade it. It kind of causes a lot of stress for people. And really, when you back up, it's just consolidating this range. Okay. Not much really going on. I'm gonna tell you right now, personally, I think the bigger trade is above or below the edges. Everything between right now and has been an iron condor. Okay. So I'd just be setting alerts above those edges. All right. But far as intraday, look right here, inside and up at the accelerator. Okay, just like everything else. Looking up and to the left, price could move very nicely into about 444. And let's get to NVIDIA. All right, NVIDIA, you can see here pushing pre-market into resistance. All right, taking last week's edge, and then you got your pink edge there. These are resistance until they're not. The bigger trade, in my opinion, over 530.10. All right, so set an alert right around here. If price can hold this on the day, DC, because this is a bigger time frame. So, I mean, you can trade it off a smaller time frame. That's fine. Try to trade it until you're happy. But for me, the bigger picture, I need a day to hold, day to check back, and then boom, the bigger trade comes into this line here at 569. All right. And again, on a pullback, in this case, I like the 4 hour for right now. Okay. If you want to do 1 hour, that's fine too. The 4 hour, just so you guys all know, the 4 hour I'm noticing is just pretty much in line with the gap up. All right, so I'd be definitely paying attention to 1 and 4 hour this morning. All right, 4 hour being that gap fill, and the 1 hour being a gap and go. Okay. All right, so I'm really excited. So when we open up here, I'll be managing trades, taking profits. All right, I'm getting very close to getting out of the house. So on a personal note, this place is totally cleaned up. It's too funny, right? As a trader, only traders would understand this who move. But literally in this big house, all I have is some monitors. You could probably hear my voice echoing. I got some monitors and a desk and the internet. That's it. So this is the only thing leaving me here. My wife's back at the other home, getting that place ready, and it's been a lot of work. But we're excited. We're excited to get the week going. I'm excited to trade. I will tell you, it feels a little weird to get up in the car and actually go to, a different place to go trade. It feels like I have a job, and this is definitely a different feeling, right? So if you're a day trader at home, you typically kind of wake up, get you a nice cup of coffee, take a shower, do your thing, and come to your screens. And this morning I've been waking up. I woke up at 5 to get here, and I can't wait. So we're going to have an amazing week. We know, again, before we get started, that 38.2 on the ES, folks. That's a big level. All right. Right? Yeah, exactly, Omar. So again, all right, guys, be watching 38.2, and I'm going to put it over here on the ES. Well, it's interesting. 38.2 is actually really close to our decelerator as well. Um, let's go to default right here. There you go. Okay. So this is your default. This is the chart I gave you a while ago. We came into there, found buyers. Um, you can see right here, just like on the way up, folks, the 4 hour was amazing. All right, this trade right here, we just kept going up and up. It was super easy. We just like every morning they just pulled it back to the four and then boom, pulled it back to the four and boom. This time they're picking up to the four, right? They're pushing price into the four and then down, four down, right? See that right there, right there, right there. But now, guess what? We're over it. Okay. So really, this bounce or perhaps this reversal will stay in play. Okay. It's a little bit late, man. I only got about 4 minutes here, Eric. So you're a little late there, man. I'll be now. I need to get into getting this everything set up and ready to go. And like I said this morning, please make sure you're watching the trendy updates and read the note entirely. Look at the charts, and then if you have questions after that, please reach out to me. But this morning, because we are light on our setups, meaning screens and so forth, I really need to be hyper focused this morning. So I'm only working with 4 screens instead of all the screens I typically work with, and I'm monitoring several different things. All right, outside of uh, charts, I'm teaching, people ask questions and so forth. So because of that, I need to just be looking at my charts, alerts, and so forth. So once we get started here in about 3 minutes, I will be going into very focused. All right. And by the way, Jay gave me the answer to the question that I was asking about for the charts, and I'll share that with you guys a little bit later if you want to know. All right, so let's go ahead and zoom in on these. And again, if you want to learn more for what we do here, please check us out at trendytrading.co.co. There's a lot of explanations on there. Really breaks it down for what we need. Our members do have a dashboard with all my methodology and our educational videos and so forth to learn how we trade here. And we'll see you again.